Okay, we're gonna start recording from here then, so the recording's gonna be a little clipped, but just should be that big a deal. Okay, anyway, like I was saying right before you disconnected, I think that this positioning is a little iffy. I think walking up here alone is really scary, especially no pings. Your team doesn't understand really what you're doing. In fact, I don't really understand what you're doing either, even watching it. It's really important that when you make a decision in League of Legends, especially about where your movement is, that you have a purpose for it. Um, and this type of movement to me doesn't have a very clear purpose that I'm aware of. So no, that's fine. No, feel free to type as you go if you have responses. Normally someone would just talk back and forth, but um, yeah, obviously we don't have that luxury. So. So you walk in here as like in order to eventually gain a ward and potentially take the blue, huh? Well, this game we know they have a Wukong jungle, so we know he's starting red 100%. Um, there's just no way he starts blue, but I don't know. I think that this is really scary. Like there's so many scenarios in which you can get punished for this type of movement. I mean, honestly, if any player that's higher ranked, like once you get to a higher rank at some point, I don't know exactly where it starts. They're gonna ward. They're gonna place their trinkets. They're gonna have a person zone controlling this map, and if they gain vision of you and they're able to form a trap on you, like this can only hurt you. This type of play just has no benefit at all. At least in higher rankings. I'm not sure if it's effective in silver, but sometimes it's not always the best comparison to begin with. Okay, that's something that's I can't argue with that, but I also don't think that it's possibly the best way to climb. Anyway, so the point is that you're going to place this ward over this blue buff, um, and then take it, I assume. So we'll see. Right now, just looking at team comps, I mean, yours is pretty solid. You have a lot of range, a lot of poke. You guys don't really have a lot of engage. I'm hoping that you go more of a frontline build on Ekko, a Cinder Hulk into like something sort of tanky, um, especially for this team composition. Someone that going full AP with this comp, I think, would be a mistake in comparison, just based on the comp alone. Do you go Cinder Hulk or do you usually go the other item? Oh, really? Um, I don't know how Runeglaive is after the patch. I know they changed it a little bit. Um, but from what I understand, most people are going Cinder Hulk right now on Ekko. Right now, like almost everyone's building Cinder Hulk first into sort of some AP items that are, because his base numbers are just insane. So people like to splash in like an Abyssal. People like to splash in like maybe another tank item if they need it, and it's really effective because Echo's base damages are just so incredibly high. Um, so you should get a kill here. He's extremely out of position. We'll see. That was a good stun, really good stun actually. Yep, good kill. Oh, did I not? My fault. I thought I showed it. There. You should be able to see it now, right? No, thank you for telling me. I forgot that it turned off. Okay. Anyway, so you just got the kill on the top laner with your W. Here, I'll rewind it. Um, So I immediately want to point out that you didn't take the blue, right? You warded that bush. This gank's really good, like I said. Anyway, you warded that bush, and then you just didn't take the blue, which I found a little peculiar. I think that if you're going to ward this bush, if you're going through all this effort to be this aggressive, and you know that it's a Wukong who's probably starting red, and you're already there, just take the blue buff. I mean, you're there already, right? You've executed your plan, and it worked. Take what you came for instead of just sort of leaving, because now you've left and you've gained nothing, and you put yourself in unnecessary risk, just like literally unnecessary risk. So wait, you took the blue? You did do you do Krug's gank and then go take the blue? Okay. Well, we'll wait till we get there, but I have a few things to say about that. Okay, so then you do the gank, and then you go to the blue buff. Okay, I hate this. I think that this is a really scary decision. This is the type of decision that can lose the tempo of the whole game. The You need to understand that Wukong's going to take like 2.5 minutes to get to his blue buff, usually. Maybe, like roughly, depending on how his rune setup, stuff like that. You're cutting it a little close. Obviously, he might not come straight here. There are a few outliers, or a few variables. But in most cases, walking into the enemy territory, placing a ward, leaving enemy territory, just to kill Krugs, and then coming back through enemy territory a different way. Literally, the only reason you get away with this is because they didn't place a single ward. In your pathing that you took to get to this blue buff, you've walked through every common ward location that a trinket ward would be placed in. So like the likelihood that you're actually like visible to them is pretty high. And because you're in silver, I'm assuming you get away with this. Although Riven is leaning down a little bit. She might come down and fuck with you. But because you're in silver, you're going to get away with this kind of thing. But this is just not going to fly in any higher elos. You're going to end up getting punished for this. And I mean, losing blue buff and giving a kill to any member of their team can be a huge snowball this early in the game. So it's a really risky play that I don't think I agree with. If you were going to steal it first and then leave. That's sort of the highest % success play, because you just execute. You're already there. Does that make sense? Okay. Another option that you had was to start their Gromp and then do blue, which is, also slightly risky, but you're already there. I mean, realistically, if you made it into their jungle, that's fine. Mistakes happen all the time. Anyway, if you're already in their jungle, you place that ward. Clearly they don't vision of you, or you would be dead at that point. So it's like, just take the Gromp while you're there. You don't need to go all the way back to Krugs. That's a really far walk. It worked out in this case because you got a kill, but like a decision. I always like to say that a decision that works isn't always the best decision. And in this case, you got kind of lucky with like your decision making. Things just happened to work out in front of you, so you ended up getting the kill on the Riven. Even though it might not have been like the optimal play. Looking towards middle here. You're going to take a turret shot, which is a little... Oh, you actually don't take a turret shot? Man. That's good. I really think you could have killed Wukong there. If you just autoed and sidestepped backwards. I mean, let's take a look again. Like, your three hit proc is so strong. It's so broken. Holy shit. So if you just walk up and hit Wukong right here instead of the minion, and instead of here, there's actually like just a generally huge mistake happening here beyond not hitting Wukong. So I want to make sure that we cover it at least. Your W is good. First of all, I want to point that out. Second of all, like the way that you're maneuvering your character in this type of situation is, um, you know, inefficient. So let me show you something here. Let's go into Paint real quick. Oh fuck. Let's move that over. Okay. Sorry, I print screened both my monitors. Okay, so I just wanted to point out something here. Okay, just making sure everything works. Okay, so basically on your character you're walking in this way, which makes sense. I mean, that's a good decision. I don't know what's better, but whatever. So you're walking up, but notice that your character's here, all right? And your goal is to hit this Wukong, right? Like you want to hit this guy. But instead what you're doing is you're clicking over here. Now this click is really, like, people don't necessarily pay attention to this kind of thing very often, which is why I want to cover it. I feel like it's not talked about nearly enough. But your mouse cursor is right here, which in general is just a mistake. Because everywhere that you potentially could want to click, like do you want to kill Nunu? Do you want to kill Wukong? Do you want to, kite? Do you want to kite back? There are like multiple spots where you could be clicking for various decision making, but your click is over here, which is actually not for any of those decisions. I mean, the only decision that this click dictates is that you're leaving straight through, which ends up happening, but I don't think is the right play. This type of, you should be, like, while you're walking by, clicking very close to your character in this type of situation. So think of it, so when you're walking through, you want to be maximizing your damage at every point in time. You just want to be dealing as much damage as possible in these type of skirmishes. So you're walking by, maybe while you're walking by this Nunu, you just hit him with an auto attack, and then you keep walking. And then Wukong walks back a little bit, and you meet him here, and then you hit him with an auto attack right here. And you can filter in these auto attacks between movements and orb walking, and maximize your damage potential in these fights in a way that could probably land you a kill in this situation, but in general, in larger situations, like over the course of 1,000 situations, is going to net you like a vast amount of benefit, right? You're just going to gain kills because you did things like this. Players will stop walking away with the 100 HP if you start mixing in. Give them the kill on Lux. Well, giving them the kill on Lux, I mean, at this point, if they're going to kill Lux, you have nothing to do with it. Your job here is clean up crew. You can, like, this Wukong is so low, especially after she hits him again, or maybe you hit him, I don't remember. Like, you end up walking right past Nunu, which is okay. He's a little bit tanky. I don't think you could have killed him. But then you're here, right by Wukong. Like, you can net an auto attack. You can start an auto attack here, and then move backwards. And then you could get 2 or 3 more auto attacks on him and make that proc happen, and that's a kill. You're going to force at least a flash out of him if he hasn't already used it. So I think it would be really important to be chasing after kills like that, especially if they're free. You're so tanky. You had your shield. You specifically... What is going on with this? You specifically had your shield from the W, which is why you're really safe in that type of situation. Also, keep in mind that Wukong is just like, he's low on mana, and he has a red buff that you could take from him. It would have just been really huge. Okay, so we're going to move on. But things like that, you want to be filtering in those autos as Ekko, because getting that third hit, or throwing a fadeaway Q even that procs your passive, can be just such a huge chunk of damage. The mistake you talked about? Do you die to the red? It's looking like you might. Yeah. Definitely a mistake, for sure. Yeah, things like that. they're a big deal, but sometimes stuff like that's just gonna happen, unfortunately. Um, you know, there's no overarching big problem there. And the only problem on this map right now is you have this awkward fucking jungle path that you forced yourself into that is just boning you right now. I mean, realistically, you're level 2. This jungle path is hurting you so badly. I mean, it's really it's more than just slightly annoying at this point. You're behind in levels by almost 2 levels to this Wukong, and you're losing a lot of pressure as a result, I think. Yeah, I think that as I'm watching this, I'm seeing why a lot of Echoes are running attack speed. It feels like it would be a lot smoother in the jungle, in your jungle clear. Um, for example, I know Koreans run 20% attack speed on Echo, um, at least on tank Echo. They'll run 20% attack speed and 10 armor, and actually 7.5% cooldown reduction. So that's something you might want to consider, is looking at experimenting with some other rune pages and seeing how they work for you. Um, I think you'd find that your clear is a lot faster. Uh, just proccing that third hit as fast as possible makes this clear so much better, it looks like. Ooh, that flash was interesting. I don't like this very much, actually. Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought would happen. Yeah, that was really aggressive onto the Wukong there. I think that was the play there was just ping him and place your ward. Um, so, yeah, the flash was a little much. That is literally a decision making error. Things like that. See, now, like, errors like that are really easy to overlook, especially whenever you're talking about like why you aren't climbing, right? Like, oh, what are the reasons that I'm not climbing? My team just feeds. Well, situations like that are, you know, that type of mistake can change the next 5 minutes of this game. You don't have flash anymore. I mean, if you have, we're gonna count for the next 280 seconds. We're gonna pay attention to how many situations it would have been useful for you to have flash in, and if you miss any kills, we need to count those as a lost kill as a result of that mistake. So I mean, that's how you have to think about things like this, or these mistakes in decision making. Sometimes they can have larger drawback than are immediately obvious. Is there any reason you don't kill the raptor camp, by the way? Because this thing's just been sitting here the whole game, and it's free XP for you. It's so fast as Ekko. You just throw the Q through it. Afraid of Wukong? Oh, well, right there. I mean, even a little bit earlier, but that's okay. I think before, when you were dying, before you died to red buff, right? Instead of doing red buff, I would have just done Raptors, hit level 3, and then done the red buff with Smite. I think that would have been the play there. Well, you didn't die to red, but what I'm saying is like that scenario where you almost died, right? You were really close. I think that the Raptor, the camp would have been a little bit safer and would have given you time to get your Smite back up. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm talking clearly and everything, right? You're not having an issue there. Oh, good, you got his flash. This is looking really solid. Could be some real damage. That character is super weird. I don't fully understand like when I'm able to kill Tahm Kench yet. I have a real problem judging his gray health bar or whatever. I don't know. I feel like that's a huge thing for him. You can dive here. Oh, for sure. Wow, that guy made a horrible mistake, but so did you. You could have killed that guy instantly if you would have just attacked him. I don't know what he was thinking. So right here, you dash away, you throw the Q back, really good. And you could just instantly kill him right here if you just right click him. Like, I mean, if you, right here, he's actually within the circle. All you have to do is right click him and you teleport to him and he's dead. But then he ends up walking back into that, which is really weird, and dies. So it doesn't matter. But things like that, executing the kill as fast as possible prevents like flash escapes, things like that. There are just a billion positives to killing people as fast as possible. Oh, okay. All right. Green Dragon, it's definitely a good call. I'd be tanking this for Tom Kent. She's looking pretty scared. Alright. Good. Good job so far. As you right now, you look lost. You just looked so lost right there. That was really crazy. You kill this dragon, which is a really good decision, and then your character just forgets what he's doing. Like, it looks like you just don't have a goal all of a sudden. Yeah. There's a lot of confusion from the looks of things where you're just kind of wandering around right here. Yeah. Well, there's a difference between giving free kill. You have to trust him to just walk away. I mean, realistically. Going down there is almost unnecessary. I think that right here, I would just be killing the Scuttle Crab. That's something that I don't know if you do often, because, this is the first game I've ever watched from you. But as a note of advice, the Scuttle Crab is so fucking broken. It is an incredibly strong tool. It is the best buff in the game. It's not even close. You should kill Scuttle Crabs as often as possible. Not even just in your first clear. I mean, always. Like, if you see a Scuttle Crab and can kill it, kill it. Like, every time. I time Scuttle Crabs, and, like, because you make sure you kill the Scuttle Crab a minute before the dragon spawns. Stuff like that. Yeah. You gotta learn to time the Scuttle Crabs and use them effectively, and you'll see that the benefit is there. I've won entire team fights off Scuttle Crab kills. I mean, I mean that realistically. That's not even an exaggeration. Specifically, the Scuttle Crab lasts 90 seconds. So if you kill the Scuttle Crab a minute before the dragon is going to spawn, or the Baron is going to spawn, and you plan on rushing that objective, and you just let your team know, it functions as like a free dragon, because nobody can team fight you on top of Scuttle Crab. Well, for the most part. It's a really free strategy, I think. This is so weird. Tom Kent stayed here. I don't know. I'm noticing your ore blocking needs a little work. Right here, okay, so you auto attack him, but your mouse inputs are just a little off, I think, because you walk towards him again, which I don't think would be what I would do. So there's like a way to just screenshot one monitor, but I never remember what it is. So we're gonna try. Oh, hey, it worked. Okay, cool. So, yeah, you're using A. No, the teleport is fine. But, so what you basically do, first let's watch it and then I'll show you the screenshot. So, let's just watch this fight and how it plays out for a second. Okay, so looking at your positioning here, you've just E'd onto him, right? Yeah, you've just E'd onto him, and so you're on top of him and you're auto attacking, right? And your Q's here as well. Immediately, the movement that you want to be doing, where your mouse wants to be, is your auto attack is on cooldown. Like, imagine it as being on cooldown, right? You're between auto attacks. It is charging up again. You should be using that period of time to move here, because you know that Tom Kent is going to run this path. He has no other way to run unless he flashes, in which case then you just disengage, right? So that you need to be following this line every chance you get in between auto attacks. So what you want to do is you attack him here, and your Q's already floating through them, so it doesn't even actually hurt you. So you let your Q float through him, and you move down this way a little bit, and then you auto attack him, and then you move down this way a little bit, and then you auto attack him here, and then you move down this way a little bit, and then you auto attack him here. You stay in front of him to auto attack him over and over for the maximum amount of auto attacks, And you'd be really surprised how many extra auto attacks you can start fitting into combos and how much more damage you find yourself actually dealing. Even if you get 2 extra auto attacks in, what if that's an extra proc of your passive on any player? That's 300, 400 extra damage just because you decided to click this direction in between auto attacks, which is a small change. I mean, that's not the biggest thing ever. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's something that people are always taught to do on ranged characters, but for some reason people don't think to do on melees because it's just as good on melees. It's actually just as good. Um, Tom Kench walks up here, which is dumb to begin with because he knows you're in this bush. Um, just imagine yourself doing that while you watch this clip and how much extra damage you would have actually dealt to him. Because instead you're right here, and then instead you're right here, and then instead you're right here, and then instead you're right here. Like you're on top of him this whole time. I don't know if Ezreal gets out of this one. Ooh. Is that his E or flash? That was Draven's flash, right? Draven flash after. It's times like these that we thank God that Draven can't catch axes. That's really what it boils down to. Yeah, he flashes forward. Now you know Draven has no flash, so this should just be free kills all day. And also, thank whatever deity you pray to that Draven couldn't catch axes to save his life. He didn't have an axe for a single one of those auto attacks. Yeah, Draven flashing there. You gotta make sure you pay attention to things like that as a jungler, because, I mean, once a lane flashes, you should then consider that gank, like, free food. Like, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. You just go there and you fucking feed on him over and over again. Mm-hmm. You should kill those raptors. Walking past these raptors is such a huge mistake that you keep making. Like, this is an instant clear. Like, you get here. It's really as simple as you throw a Q and smite that, and then you auto attack it like twice. You might even not have to E it. You just auto attack it twice. And then you get the word clearing buff, which is the best buff and like you could possibly get from smite. And you get that free XP that took 2 seconds. So things like that are going to increase your gold that you have. A lot of the time it's going to increase pretty much everything about your jungle path, because you're going to have more money, more damage at any point in time, and you're going to be able to clear wards, so you're going to be able to safely gank lanes. Yeah, look how freaking fast this is. It's so fast. Ekko does way too much damage. You know what's funny is I actually don't see that many opportunities in this game. I see, I see some, but I don't see a ton of opportunities to get out of control in this game. I think that this game is going to be very mid-game reliant regardless, just based on team compositions, because your Ezreal has to turn on, your Lux has to turn on, both of which just don't do anything in the early game. And I don't actually know how Fizz is this patch anymore, but I heard he's OP. So Riven's just really hard to gank for Ekko. Is a huge deal. I mean, Riven's gaining popularity in Korea strictly because she does very well versus Ekko. So I think that that's a really hard lane for you to be, or lane for you to be touching on. Um, you need to be making sure that you're ganking lanes where kills are even possible, right? That's really what it boils down to. It's really difficult for Riven to get hit by your W. She has so many movement abilities to just leave the circle. Um, and also like dealing enough damage to actually kill her is pretty difficult when you're moving forward. That is, or when she's not coming at you. With a lane like Tom Kent's Draven, they're gonna be on Ezreal's like face this whole game. They're just gonna be stomping in your bot lane because Draven destroys Ezreal. But knowing that, you can take advantage of that as a jungler and just sit bottom. And as simplistic as that sounds, it's an effective strategy because of how Draven plays when against Ezreal and the fact that you're in a low elo game. So like earlier when you were talking about milking it while you can, this is exactly that type of situation where I think that it is appropriate to milk it, as opposed to walking into their jungle alone early game. I think that this dealing with a Draven at low elo is incredibly simple. You just sit on his lane and kill him over and over again because he's going to flash forward for kills and he's going to be greedy and he's going to drop axes because he's not challenger, and it's going to be embarrassing for him when he dies 7 times in laning phase. And it's really not that difficult to end up doing if you sit there long enough. You'll find that there's a consistency in any Draven that's under master tier, in that they will drop axes and flash forward for kills, and that's pretty much all of them. There's a special type of person that plays Draven. Oh, so the point of that is bot lane is just more appropriate to put focus on than top lane right now, I think. Okay, Fizz does some mistakes. That's okay. I get a Steam message in the middle of the video. I'm getting several Steam messages. It's apparently very urgent. Okay. You fat fingered. Alright, so, but, okay. You fat fingered, and that's kind of funny. But, what I really want to point out is that now your flash has been down for 10 minutes. Like, Dennis, you're playing without flash for 10 minutes. That is so difficult to do. It takes away so much from your ability to carry if you don't have flash. I really believe that. I would not give that blue buff. I am of the opinion that you should never give blue buff ever, personally. I think giving blue buff is a terrible decision. If you're trying to carry as an AP jungler, take every blue buff. And dude, Trick2G doesn't get a lot right, but he gets right the fact that he takes every blue buff on Udyr, and I really think that it's worth it. If you are confident in your champion and your playstyle, to just take it. People might not be thrilled about it, but as long as you don't say anything that's like mean and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just taking these or something, you just let them know ahead of time. If you don't beat your mid laner into walking over to the blue buff, usually they won't actually care that much. So it doesn't hurt the morale of the team too bad, as long as you make it known up front. So Nunu vs Lux is one of the most boring lanes that I think could ever be played in League of Legends. So I don't think I would ever touch that, just because you're never gonna kill him ever. He's so okay, or you're just gonna kill him. All right, well, never mind. You're gonna kill him apparently, because he got like bound in the middle of a minion wave or something crazy. Yeah, how did he die? I'm really confused. Oh yeah, he got bound in the middle of the minion wave and killed. Okay. I guess you can kill the Nunu middle if he gets bound. I guess. That was a good ultimate. You got away. That was good. That was a generally good gank. I just don't think it should have worked. You did everything right, that's for sure. Yeah, see, you've about 10 minutes to end this game before things start getting really messy, I think. Um, for your team, you need to be aware looking at champ select, like learning how to read team compositions and how to read timing windows is what I like to call them. Are you familiar with what like a timing window is? Yeah, that's one example. Yeah, so before they outscale your comp. So in this case, you have zero tanks, right? Like you have Fizz, Lux, Ekko. Like that is so much damage and like a lot of range and a lot of CC. But what it ultimately boils down to is it's a lot of magic damage. Um, and Ezreal doesn't exactly provide the AD damage that your comp needs to have a balance. So what the problem is going to end up being is that they're going to build MR and then be invincible. Especially champions like Tom Kench and like Nunu and whoever the fuck their jungler is, Wukong. They're going to build MR and they're not going to take any damage from any of your threats. And they're going to slowly outscale you guys because their comp's just better. Like you guys don't have a front line. You guys lack engage. So that's something you really have to consider, and you have to be playing extremely aggressively to reflect that. Because if you're not playing aggressively, you need to either get ahead early or lose, period, because you're not going to win the late game in this case. So you need to be aware of that, but be aware of that in all senses. So not just when you're playing Ekko on a glass cannon comp, but if you're playing a comp with a lot of tanks, you need to be aware that you should be playing passive while you scale up, things like that. That was a really good Tom Control. So the Q backwards. Good. Yeah, and you guys are winning this fight, but it is already visible how squishy you guys actually are, right? I mean, look at how low your HP bars are. It's pretty clear. You guys are hitting a power spike and you're still losing so much health in these fights. Like you had to stop, you had to disengage out because of how scared you were, which I mean is, valid. It is a scary situation. But you guys won the fight and you pulled really far ahead, which means that you guys are now in a serious running to win this game. I hope that you get this. No. I had a feeling that you weren't going to get that. Just because full AP Nunu. Wow, Nunu's just doing work on your team, huh? He's just fucking tearing you apart. Jeez, oh man. Wow, that guy fucked you up. I thought that he was going to flash in for sure. Like, it's Nunu. It's not like it's like Katarina or something who wants to get 4 kills. He's not trying to flash in for kills. He knows he can outsmite you with his Q. Even though you should have gotten this actually. All you had to do is use any of your 3 abilities on this dragon, and you would have gotten the dragon. But plus smite, I mean. But he ends up stealing it with his Q, which I mean was his plan all along. Yeah, it's cool. Mistakes happen all the time. It's not the end of the world. It's just definitely it was one. Yeah, and then your team makes some interesting plays, and you guys end up running away. So that was a really big problem because any dragon that you guys don't get is taking away from your win condition. Because 5 dragons is a really serious win condition for you guys. You guys almost need it if you want to win late game. So not having that dragon sets behind your guaranteed win by like 6 minutes, which is a big problem. We'll see if you're able to survive that, but alright, so it's looking like you go Morello second. Is that right? Okay. Yeah, I guess if you're going full AP, that works fine. I really I think that you're gonna end up being super squishy in this game, and it worries me a lot. God, that champion is fucking insane. Holy crap. How do you kill that guy? Alright, so this should be a double kill. You should kill this guy. Ulti? Yeah. Okay, that was good. That was good on your end for sure. Fizz got a little greedy, but whatever, you got the kills. So you killed a support in the top laner though, which is important to note. So it's not like you actually get to take anything off this. I mean, those kills were kind of just kills. They didn't mean anything. You can't take a mid turret because the mid laner's still alive. You can't really, there's no dragon to take. There's no real bot pressure with the way the wave is, you know. So it's a little bit pointless. But hey, gold's gold, so. Yeah, this game I would have gotten Hourglass second, I think, for sure. They have so much AD damage, and so many abilities that can be dodged by your Hourglass, that I really think the Hourglass was the purchase. It's also cheaper now, which is really relevant because it's like champions like Zed and stuff just got 300 gold worse. I mean, realistically. Hourglass is gonna destroy the burst meta. That was a good burst. Yeah, really good. That was a mistake on his end that you capitalized on, so. Really good. I'm not sure, are you trying to go for Draven? Is that what's going on? I'm not sure what you're doing exactly. Oh, he teleports you behind Draven. Holy moly. That champion's crazy. Very nice W. Very nice kills. Easy game, easy life, am I right? Okay, so Dragon should be up in like 3 minutes. Baron should be up in 1 minute and 8 seconds. You have all 3 turrets up on the map that you can take any of. This should be your thought process, right? This should be how you're thinking whenever you get kills like that. You shouldn't be thinking, oh yeah, how am I going to spend 300 gold? You should be thinking, oh, where can I go right now? Like, where can I go to make an impact? Like, and have an effect on this game. So, like, immediately I was like, when's Dragon up? When's Baron up? How do the towers look? What lanes can I push? Who's alive? Who's healthy? You know, things like that. Let's make a game plan instantly once we make picks like that. That type of thought process is going to win you games by itself because you're going to end up making fast plays that your opponents just can't react to. So the number one reason that games get thrown in solo queue is because decisions are just never made. If you make decisions, you'll win games. Good, you got that kill on that turret. I would poke in and ward their red buff, is what I would do. Right now, I would have gone in, up through this tribe rush, and I would have walked to their red and just dropped a ward on it. I mean, you have this ward in your inventory, you have the bot lane dead, you killed the turret, you want to gain control of the map wherever you can right now. So placing that ward on red gives you so much power over the mid lane. Like, you know for sure, either A, you could take the red buff from Wukong, which is a big deal, but you can also see them rotating to mid lane from bot lane, which is really good, unless you guys take mid lane more efficiently. Fizz killed Riven. Yeah, this game is starting to snowball in your favor for sure. Yeah, building Ekko just seems so awkward as AP. Things are a lot more straightforward as Cinderhulk, I feel. because you can just go like abyssal, or you can go into armor. Um, you can go into like a billion different options. You could even go into like something like hourglass or rabadons, but it just seems really awkward. You have all these AP items, and none of them are really made for Ekko, so it all just feels kind of weird. Yeah, face checking in there I think was a pretty large mistake. I mean, that ward is, it feels good to want to place, but I don't know. You should kill him here with your ulti though, right? Oh, no. He gets eaten. God, Tom Kent is broken. Okay, so they're pushing in towards this dragon. They want it. You guys got Scuttle Crab, which is really important, like I said before. So I'm really happy that you guys got Scuttle Crab. Um, but like, look how much space you guys have to work with now. Like, they just can't push in on the Scuttle Crab, or you will just kill them. And hopefully that's exactly what happens here. I would have flashed the fuck out of there. You waited so long to flash. Oh my gosh. You're insane. I think you could have gone in there. I think the second you throw this W, you can just go in. Yeah, look at the stun. That would have been instantly killed, right? You would have just bursted her to zero to full to death. Another thing that you just didn't do is like okay, so there were a lot of misplays in this fight. I want to watch it again. Okay, so first of all, we let them hit this dragon for a really long time. And I know you're kind of waiting on Lux Ezreal, but I would at least throw a Q in to scare him out or to slow him down a little bit. I think that that would help you out a little bit here. And then, okay, so right now, the second you get hit by all this, I would have flashed. Like, there's no way that I wait to die. You actually... Wait, did Tom... Wait, what happened to Riven in this fight? I'm confused. Did someone eat Riven? Oh, you thought you were dead? Okay, that's fine. I don't know what happened to Riven. I kind of lost her in that fight, if I'm being honest. Let me watch it again. All these Tom Kenches eating people is just confusing the shit out of me. Okay, so she gets eaten by her own Tom Kench. Okay, that saved your life, is what happened. This Tom Kench saved your life. So, Riven ulted, like right at the early... As soon as Riven ulted, her own Tom Kench ate her, so she couldn't ult you. Like, you really should have died. So, lucky you, right? But the real mistake in this fight is that you're running and you don't like smite this. I would want actually probably past wolves and smite wolves for HP and then go back into the fight. Yeah, or maybe Grump. I was thinking smite Grump, but I don't think you had a chance to. I think you would have died. So the wolves are the next option. But yeah, smiting and you could heal like 300 health right now if you smited. You could easily kill the Riven. I'd be scared of the Nunu, but yeah, it's worth noting that that type of play is possible, whether or not it was the play in that situation, right? Just keep it in mind. Remember to be smiting for HP, mid fights. That combined with your ulti healing is just absurd. Okay, so we're farming bottom a little bit. Not too shabby. There's a lot of farm. For the record, you have 15 seconds to grab that, so you could have grabbed Gromp. Or you have 10 seconds, I think. You have 10 seconds to grab it. His channel is 10 seconds long on that ability. Yeah, you guys have so much damage and you're so far ahead. Now it's just a snowball. Like, how fast can we kill the entire enemy team? The only scary thing is if you guys get Wukong womboed with Riven, you guys could all just melt instantly. So, um, going back to that tank thing that we were talking about before. Oh, I would fucking ulti on that guy so hard. You play Ekko very patiently, which is good. That's a good thing. Yeah, a lot of people get too aggressive on Ekko. Should be able to kill him here. Ooh, the flash. Huh. That was a good Draven ult. It's too bad he suicided after for no reason. Okay, so you got Dragon, you got a few kills, and you're gonna kill this Nunu, right? Yeah. So altogether, that is like a really good series of events for you. You should be hitting the B button and buying an item, is what you really should be doing right now. Like, before even blue buff, before anything, I would just go spend my 2,000 gold. Like, most importantly. Spending gold is a huge mistake that I've seen. The last 3 people I've coached have had the same issue. And it seems to be just like a running mistake that like so many people make. And it's just that the people don't seem to want to spend their gold. Like, every time people earn this gold, they hold it until they can like complete an item or until they can buy a bunch of items, and that's an enormous mistake, man. Like, that's a big mistake that is almost unforgivable. This game isn't about characters fighting. This game is a game of power spikes, if you really think about it. It's about when do you get your item in comparison to when do they get their items. And if you get your items faster, like, it's such a huge deal to finish, a Rylai's, or to finish a Lich Bane, or, whatever you're trying to finish in this situation, and you have the gold for it. So just go finish it, come back, and stomp the next fight with your new items, with your new power spike. You gotta use that power spike. The beauty of power spikes is that they're limited. That's why this game is balanced, right? Is because when Riven gets her brutalizer, she has 3 minutes or 4 minutes of absurd power where she can outtrade anybody. But after that 3 or 4 minutes, that power spike dwindles. It's not as strong as it was until she gets her next item. So you want to buy that brutalizer as fast as possible, as soon as you have the gold for it, so that you can maximize that 4-minute window, and you don't end up wasting 2 minutes of it farming extra gold to then only have a 2-minute power spike, if that makes any sense. Do you understand that? I used the Riven example, but I guess I could use an Ekko one too if you'd rather. It's kind of a complicated idea. It's not how a lot of people think about buying items, which is the problem. Yeah, this Lich Bane's going to give you a few minutes of absurd power, where you're just going to deal so much damage in these team fights until they start buying their MR, or completing their MR items. I've assumed they started them. So, buying that as soon as possible lengthens that amount of time that you have that level of power. Yep, so You're incredibly strong. Now you just take an inhib. I would go bottom and take bot inhib, but everyone seems to be agreeing on mid, so that's fine. I think you could have got both. Oh, you're not going for the inhib. Interesting. I think you guys could have taken it. The inhib. I don't think it would have been that close actually. You were, but they were dead for a while. They probably had 10 more seconds on their death timers. That's okay. It's not a big deal. So Ludens is a really interesting decision. I kind of really don't like Ludens this patch anymore. I don't think that a lot of champions should be buying the Ludens. Oh, it's over. Okay. Before I want to finish that thought. So Ludens right now I feel like is just worse than Deathcap in almost every way. Just so you're aware, Deathcap is like got huge buffs this patch, like huge ones, massive buffs. Well, 5% is a big deal, but also needlessly large rod is a smaller amount of gold, which is a bigger buff than you might realize because it lets your power spike as an AP character be faster, which is before how AP casters were limited. They were gated by the fact that they needed 1600 gold to deal damage. And now they get slightly less damage, but they only need 1200 gold to deal damage. So that's fucking insane. That's, 3 creep waves. Or, that's like 3 creep waves sooner they're going to have their power spike, which is pretty incredible if you really think about it. They could realistically have a needless by the first dragon fight, and that's scary. I see you typing, so. Yeah. Okay, but anyway, I like that Deathcap's a little bit more accessible now, and then plus the 5% that you mentioned is also just directly a buff. That's true. It does give you that extra wave clear, but sure. I guess there's like some scenarios where you're split pushing that it's effective, but I'd say in a larger percentage of the situations you're going to be in team fights and in skirmishes, in which case just having the raw AP is better. It depends on your play style a lot more. So if you do find yourself split pushing, Ludens isn't bad. But this game you didn't split push a single time, so I don't think that it was good. Does that make sense? Thinking critically about your item choices is really important. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Right? Yeah, that's the end. I surrender. Okay. Do you have any last questions that I can answer for you before I close out this recording, and then we can talk for another few minutes after that? Any disagreements, any questions, any discussion topics that you wanted to touch on? Okay, no, that's good. I mean, that's a great mentality to have. Yeah, I'm not trying to shit on your gameplay or anything. I'm here to help. That's why I'm willing to do this coaching thing. So I'm happy that you're taking it well. The only big deal is if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer anything. Throw it at me. Yep. I don't like Morellos in the jungle personally. I would really say that give the tank Ekko a try. I just looked it up online to make sure I wasn't wrong. I looked it up, and on pro builds, there's not a single person on the pro builds list that builds Runeglaive. Not a single one. There's like 30 plus entries of Cinderhulk in a row. Okay. Yeah, I just went and checked to make sure I wasn't crazy. Yeah, there's like 30 Cinderhulk players in a row, and they all go like Cinderhulk into a tank item or like Sightstone or something. So I would really, I'd give that build a shot and see if you like it. You might have a higher win rate that way. You might not stomp quite as hard, but sometimes there's more to the game than stomping, realistically. Yeah, Ekko, a tank Ekko has enough base damage to still be relevant in fights. And being that tank in the front line is just, like the fact that you can ulti to heal like half your HP when you leave as a tank and then walk back into the fight with half health again is crazy. So I really think that he's valuable. Okay, so I'm gonna cut off this recording now then, unless if that's all right with you. All right, cool. I'm gonna stop it now.